Hi, and welcome to this How Do I video on creating and using a workflow for incoming documents in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. In this video, I will demonstrate how you can integrate a workflow in order to have released incoming documents processed by the Lexmark invoice capture service in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. I will do this in 5 different steps. First of all, I will create a new workflow from a template. Then I will set up the job queue. I will create a new incoming document in step 3. Then in step 4, I will use the map text to account function. And in step 5, I will demonstrate the automatic OCR usage and invoice creation. Let's first of all have a look at how we can create a new workflow from a template. Now, a workflow in Microsoft Dynamics NAV is based on a number of events that can have conditions and that will trigger specific responses. In this demonstration, I will use the incoming document OCR workflow that we have available in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And basically, when an incoming document is released, you will see that based on the workflow, the system will automatically send the document to an OCR service. Then, when the document is received back from the OCR service, the system will automatically create a document from the incoming document. Let's have a look at how the workflow looks like in the application. Here in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, I will use the search function to go to Workflows. There we go. And here, if I expand integration, you will see that there are a couple of workflows that we have available on incoming documents. The first one is incoming document approval workflow. The second one is incoming document OCR workflow. Let me double click to open the second one. And here you can see the events, the conditions, and the responses. So basically, if we analyze this workflow, you will see that when an incoming document is released, the system will send the incoming document to the OCR service. Then when it is received back from the OCR service and the status is success, then the system will create a document from the incoming document. If the status then is created, nothing will happen. However, if the status has failed, then a user will be notified. In this case, I've specified my own user account, which you can do by clicking on the Assist Edit and by entering a recipient user ID. So if the transaction would fail, then I will get a notification of this. And then the last line is that if an incoming document is received from OCR and the status is error, then also I will get a notification. The last thing for me to do here is to enable the workflow, and now we are ready to use it. In the second step, I will set up the job queue. Now, the job queue will take care of the automatic processing of the workflow, such as, for example, sending the incoming document to the OCR service. Now, this is the demo setup that I will use. I will use the default job queue, and on the OCR job queue entries, I will set the number of minutes between runs to 1. And of course, I will also start the job queue. So here in the application, let me first go to the job queue entries. And here on the job queue entries, you can see that we have 2 different job queue entries for OCR. So the first one is receive, the second one is send. So if I double click on the first one, and if I expand the recurrence fast step, here you can see the number of minutes between runs. So the standard setting is 5, however, for demo purposes, I will set this to 1 in order to not have to wait too long. I will do the same for the OCR send to service. And also here you can see the same setting that I've set to 1. Next, I will restart the job queue, both for the send to service as the receive from service. Next, let me go to the job queues itself. So if I go to the job queues, you can see that we have the default job queue. And in order to be able to use the job queue, you will have to start it. And that's something that you can simply do by clicking on the Start Job Queue button in the ribbon. In the next step, we will create an incoming document. Now, this is something that you can very easily do by using the Create from File function. What the OCR service setup is concerned, I will not cover this in detail in this video. However, you can refer to the How Do I set up and use the Lexmark invoice capture system in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016 video, in which the OCR service setup is explained in detail. So in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, to create a new incoming document, I will use the Create from File function. and I will retrieve the London Postmaster invoice PDF document. Next, I will click on Open, and the new document is created. Now, before triggering the workflow by releasing the incoming document, let me first show you the map text to account function. Now, this is a function that we can use to map a GL account based on a predefined text. This is something that we need because the system will try to create automatically a purchase document, and to do so it needs a vendor but also a default GL account. And that's basically why this function is used. So based on incoming document data such as the vendor name, the description and so on, we can then use a text to map to a specific GL account. So here in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, in the ribbon you can see the map text to account function. So if I click, you can see an example. So based on the mapping text London, you can map specific GL accounts. So when processing the OCR data and the system recognizes the word London, it will automatically use these GL accounts when creating a purchase invoice. By going to the Set.Defaults account function, the purchases and the payables setup will open. And as you can see here, there's a data exchange fast tab where you can also enter default GL accounts to use for non-item transactions, and so for non-item lines, as you can see here. So based on this setting, the system will be able to automatically create a purchase invoice in the next step. In the last step of my demonstration, let's have a look at the automatic OCR usage and invoice creation. Now, as already explained, the workflow trigger in my demonstration is the release of the incoming document. So based on that, we will have to wait, and after a while we will see that the system will automatically process the following. So it will send the incoming document to the Lexmark invoice capture service. Then after a while it will automatically receive it back from the Lexmark invoice capture service, and then based on the OCR XML file that has been created automatically, the system will then create a purchase invoice. So all these things are done automatically by the system based on the workflow that we have enabled and the job queue. So here in Microsoft Dynamics NAV, like I just said, the trigger for enabling the workflow is the release of the incoming document. So if I click now on release, you will see that after a while the system will notify me that everything is sent successfully to the OCR service, and now we will have to wait for a couple of moments in order to receive it back. So I've waited like for 60 to 90 seconds, and you will see now that the system automatically has received the OCR. So the result is the London Postmaster invoice XML document, and it also automatically created purchase invoice 1008. And if I open the document by clicking on the link, you will see that this is a purchase invoice from London Postmaster using the default GL account that we have specified in the map text to account, but also in the purchases and payables setup. However, when the system wasn't able to process the document successfully, you can tell by looking at the status failed in this case. You can also expand the errors and warnings fast tab in order to have a look at the problem. And in this case, you can see that the system wasn't able to find the appropriate GL accounts. Remember, when we had a look at the workflow specified that if the status was failed, that then the user would be notified. So now if I will go to my home page, on the role center, if I scroll down to my notifications, you can see here that now I have a new notification. So this notification is based on the workflow that discovered that the processing of the incoming document has failed. So by double clicking, you will see now that the system will open the job queue entry based on which the processing did not succeed. In this How Do I video, I've covered using workflows in combination with incoming documents. So I've done this by executing the following steps: creating a new workflow from a template, then setting up the job queue, then creating an incoming document, using the map text to account function, and finally demonstrating the automatic OCR usage and invoice creation. By showing this video, I've covered topics such as the workflow for incoming documents, the automatic processing of the Lexmark invoice capture system for Microsoft Dynamics NAV, and also the automatic creation of documents in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. More information on these topics you can find in the Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016 help and also on the Microsoft Dynamics Learning Portal that you can access by following the link on the page. Thank you for following this video on Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016 on using incoming documents in combination with the workflow. This video was made in collaboration with Microsoft and the Training Center Platan.